Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. And if you are new here, my name is Hannah. I'm a Western Practical Astrologer. Okay, so in today's video, we are going to be talking all about 2025 for Gemini. Yes, Gemini, we're going to be talking about you throughout 2025. What does 2025 have in store for you? Now, before we do dive in, however, if you are interested in booking a reading with me, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. There you can also find my astrology products. And if you do enjoy this video today, then make sure to give it a like, comment what you really think or thought of the video, and make sure to subscribe to keep up to date with new videos. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so just a quick thing to mention. Gemini risings, this video is going to be very much directed at you, but even if the sun or moon are in Gemini in your chart, feel free to just give this video a watch. So especially if you have a day chart and then your sun is in Gemini, you may relate to the information. And if you've got a night chart and your moon is in Gemini, then you may relate to the information. Even with the sun is about our purpose. And then with the moon, that is about our inner life, our inner world, our unconscious. So you could just look at it as reading for your sun, moon, and rising with different purposes in mind. Moving on, I want to say Happy New Year. Happy New Year. We're coming up to the end of 2024, coming into 2025 as Saturn and Neptune and Uranus will all be on the move. So yes, Happy New Year. Though I would also like to mention that the astrological new year begins at the start of Aries season. So just keep that in mind. So for you, Gemini, as we enter 2025, the sun will be in your 8th house there in Capricorn. So pretty much here, it's about this focus, this direction related to things like your personal transformations. Just think of this even through a lens of Pluto being in your 8th house over these past 16 years and what has come up for you there. I do have videos available all about Pluto in Capricorn for all of the signs. Indeed, we're just going to see here more of a grit and a determination and a discipline with respect to your transformations with the sun being in Capricorn as we enter 2025. Then by the time we come to Aries season, the sun will be in your 11th house. And we're going to get into it, Gemini, because it's very exciting for you, I think. And what I've put down here is that this is a year for pioneering future aims. Thinking about visions, our hopes and wishes for the future. My goodness, Saturn and Neptune will be entering this 11th house arena for you. So we're really going to see you being this pioneer, this leader, this trailblazer when it comes to the collective, when it comes to grips, right? Grip participations. Gemini. So January, let's begin by looking at January, and I am going to try and keep these videos a bit more brief because from previous videos, I went into a lot of information. So I'm going to try and keep it brief. Just this is more of like an overview of the year where we'll get more into the details as we progress throughout the year. Right, so beginning 2025, we have Mars retrograde in your 3rd house. So Mars will be retrograde in your 3rd from the 6th of December until the 6th of January. So what does this suggest? Well, this will be you taking a closer look at your thoughts and what drives your thoughts. I think even this is about communication, confidence. This is about being able to communicate in such a way where you feel self-assured, you feel like, yes, what I'm saying is important. This is also about energetic readjustments and reassessments there. So much about your vitality will come up, But of course, this stuff is connected in with your thoughts, how you socialize, how you uh, communicate and educate. Indeed, we could see you being a bit of a leader when it comes to learning and education overall, basically, Gemini. So just take that time to maybe reassess, to review the plan, just to take a closer look at how you might want to communicate moving forward there. And then we come to Mars retrograde entering your second house. So this will be from the 6th of January until the 23rd of February in Cancer. So this part of the transit, part of the retrograde, will more so be about your resources, your earnings, thinking about your physical security, your comfort levels. Indeed, you will have an opportunity to just retrace your steps, so to speak, to sort of say, okay, what about my emotional security? What about my emotional needs? What do I prioritize when it comes to these things, especially thinking about how those things are tied in with how you accumulate goods and resources and materials in your life? Yes, could be just a good opportunity for you to go over a few steps, and you may arrive at some interesting conclusions. And maybe a part of it too is about your energy levels, okay, your willpower, and how you may be driven by certain material and financial goals during that time period. Then we move on to the nodes changing. So we've got the North Node and the South Node being in your 5th and 11th houses since July of 2023. So from that time period up until the 11th of January, so from July 2023 until the 11th of January 2025, you have been really directing your focus and your energy toward that of these pioneering attitudes and behaviors within communities. We think about the impacts that you make within society. We think about your contributions to society, charity, maybe being of service to others, helping others. We see this as you being a bit of a leader of sorts, okay, when it comes to these areas. But then you see the nodes are going to change into the 10th and the 4th houses for you. So this will be from the 11th of January 2025 for the next 18 months. So as you might begin to ease up a little bit on any perfectionistic ways of showing up within your household, any fussiness or being overly concerned about order there when it comes to your family life or your living situation, whilst you may be easing up on those kinds of areas, you're also then going to embrace more of this compassion, this uh, empathetic approach, I think, publicly. And this is also maybe about greater healing and maybe even being quite drawn to the arts or being really creative. There could be some levels of escapism involved here, such as thinking about how, professionally speaking, escapism can come into play, such as photography, film, writing, art, maybe daring the public to dream a little bit, or being quite the visionary. Or as I was saying earlier, some kind of healing methods could come into the public eye there. Then again, it could be for some of you taking a step away from the public for a short period of time and maybe trying to spend a bit more time in solitude, or to be quite reflective and contemplative with respect to your career path or your professional lives. But overall, I think this is going to be the direction you'll be headed in uh, throughout that time, or during that time. Then we also have Uranus turning direct. So this will be on the 30th of January. Uranus will then be retrograde from the 1st of September 2024 until the 30th of January 2025. So with that part of, with Uranus retrograde during that time period, I mean, this has given you an opportunity to maybe take a closer look at your inspirations, those material insights, security insights, things that maybe feel stuck or lost or hidden. You have had an opportunity to maybe embrace the unexpected or to even take a closer look at hidden gifts, hidden talents of yours, especially related to sensuality or related to uh, being grounded or practicing and showing common sense. We could also see this as sudden disruptions or light bulb moments with relation to what happens behind the scenes. So maybe there's a lot that people are not seeing right now in your life, but this is more so about keeping surprises to yourself. And those surprises, those unexpected shifts could be more, sure, they could be disruptive and chaotic, where you could be thrown off balance, but they can also welcome maybe greater prosperity or greater opportunities for you. And so, therefore, with Uranus turning direct, you can move forward with the kinds of lessons and the unexpected shifts that came up for you during that time period of 1st of September to the 30th of January. So, as we move into February, we come into February and Jupiter then turns direct in your sign, Gemini, my word. With Jupiter in your sign for the past number of months, we have noticed for you just the opportunities and the growth with relation to your identity, your name, your title, your appearance, your aims and your goals have perhaps really changed in expansive ways. And this is more so about education. This is more so about possibly, hey, relocating, moving. This is maybe about inspiring others through your speech, with your words. So, with Jupiter retrograde from the 9th of October until the 4th of February, you're taking another look at these areas, okay? You are in the process of reassessing where you're at, where you're headed, what you want there in terms of your personal growth. Following your moral compass, I think, is a big part of this too. How do you feel aligned with your morals in this regard? Taking a closer look at your code of ethics and even knowledge, right? Knowledge is a big part of Jupiter, of what Jupiter represents. So there's something here about just learning as much as possible, learning as much knowledge as possible so that you're well equipped with the information. And maybe as well improving upon your communicative skills and how you share, how you deliver information, how you deliver a speech. For example, how you show up then in terms of broadcasting and promotion, maybe promoting yourself. So with Jupiter turning direct on the 4th of February, you can, of course, start to move forward or see how things can so the things that you reassess can be carried forward with you into the next part of your journey. Then we move to Mars. Mars will turn direct on the 23rd of February. So again, another forward motion. Of course, do remember just the post shadow period. So the post shadow period of Mars will be from the 23rd of February until the 2nd of May. So it would still be a good opportunity for you to mull things over. Again, this stuff relates to your earnings, your resources, your finances, even thinking about, hey, your skills and talents there. And perhaps the Mars retrograde has been a good way for you to maybe reassess, okay, energetically, how does this skill or talent make me feel? Or is this for me? How does it really sit with me, maybe emotionally? Or, this could more so be about just safety, emotional security, emotional safety overall, keeping yourself protected in some respects. So with Mars turning direct, again, we could see this as more of that forward focus where you can carry over the lessons that came up during the retrograde. Right, so moving into March, March is a pretty active month, I must say. We have a lot going on. I actually just have a quick calendar so you can take a look, you can see what is presented there, but we're just gonna go through this. So first of all, Venus. Oh, and by the way, just a quick thing I want to mention here before we do move on. Notice here that Mars is in Cancer, but Mars then comes to Capricorn at the other side opposite there. So the whole point of this is that your Mars story throughout 2025 will be from Cancer, second house, all the way to the Capricorn house, with Mars being in Capricorn at the end of 2025. So this sort of section of your chart through those houses, remember just what those houses represent, what they mean, those houses will be activated through a lens of willpower and goal setting and challenge too, actually, when we think about Mars. So I just wanted to highlight that. And again, we will perhaps go into more detail as the months go by, or as the seasons, should I say, go by, because that's usually what I do. I usually go through the horoscope season by season, but I'm just doing 2025 as an overview. Okay, so Venus. I've done a similar thing with Venus. This is the path of Venus throughout 2025. So beginning with Venus in Pisces, and then we go all the way around to Venus being in Capricorn as we exit 2025. Right, let's think firstly about the very Venus, the Venus retrograde, and that will be from the 1st of March until the 12th of April. But you see, it begins from Aries. Okay, so coming into 2025, we have Venus in Pisces, then it moves into Aries, and then by the 1st of March, Venus starts to retrograde in Aries. So, what could this suggest for you, Gemini? Well, let's think about Venus. Venus is very much about things like our creativity, unity, socializing, attraction. So, with Venus and Aries, this, of course, can be quite a steamy version of Venus, pretty sexy, hot, pretty active, very much on the move, wanting to make things happen, being quite the trailblazer. And we also could see this as some sort of goal setting with relation to your creativity or socializing. And this stuff shows up then within groups and teams and organizations that you're a part of, certain networks that you're a part of there, clubs there as well. So with Venus retrograde, that will be a good time period for you to take a closer look, take a step back, go, right, let me do an honest review. Let me see where I'm at when it comes to these areas. So, this part of Venus retrograde will be from the 1st of March until the 27th of March. And then by the 27th of March until the 12th of April, Venus retrograde will enter your 10th house. So that part of the retrograde will be an opportunity for you to maybe go over, okay, what about public connections there? What about how I show up in a compassionate, empathetic way toward the public? Maybe it's a good opportunity for you to go over your priorities, what you value when it comes to your public presence, when it comes to your reputation. Could even just be a time period to go behind the scenes for just that period of time where you can honestly review how you wish to do things moving forward. You can honestly look over, okay, what do I value here when it comes to my professional life? What is it that moves me? How can I show up in a flexible and empathetic way where I can really listen to the needs and the concerns of others? Or maybe this is about service, right? This is about some kind of caring role that you play. This could even show up as something artistic or very creative, again, there with Pisces as a part of it. For example, this could be related to visuals or film or music, hey, music or painting, dance, all as different possibilities there. But essentially, this is about empathy and compassion, and also what moves you. Where do you really feel drawn to when it comes to your professional lives and how you show up within a public setting there? Maybe there are a few things you would like to change socially, for example. And there are a few things that you want to change so that things are better, right? There is some kind of betterment involved. And with Mercury, let's talk about Mercury. Mercury will also retrograde and it will start from the 15th of March in Aries. And the retrograde will be from the 15th of March until the 29th of March. Mercury will retrograde in Aries, and from the 29th of March until the 7th of April, Mercury retrograde will be in Pisces. So for the first part of it, from the 15th of March until the 29th of March, this is more so then about if we move forward here, this will be more so about your intellect. This will more so be about your thoughts, communication, how you engage with others, how you relate to others. A lot of listening, I think, with the Mercury retrograde, especially because Mercury is your ruler, right? So Mercury rules you, Gemini. So I think with Mercury retrogrades, it's really a good opportunity for you to take in information, for you to listen, to truly hear what other people have to say, and to sit with the facts, sit with the data, so that you can come up with your own conclusions, especially in Aries, right? Mercury in Aries is more so about the self, it's more so about your personal views and opinions. And so, with Mercury being retrograde, that will give you that opportunity to just absorb or reflect upon, maybe is a better way to put it, to reflect upon information to see, okay, how does this truly sit with me? Does it align with my future aims? Does it align with the things that I want to achieve in my life? And how does it even sit with you when it comes to friendships and clubs and groups that you're a part of, right? Which kinds of ideologies or non-conforming ideas are you listening to? Or maybe this is about being innovative or assisting in some way to change things, to help change society in some way, shape, or form. But Mercury retrograde asks you to be bold and daring and brave there, Gemini. Then from the 29th of March until the 7th of April, Mercury then will enter the 10th for you. So this, I feel, will suggest that Mercury retrograde will take on more of a deeper, insightful feel. It'll be more so about spiritual awareness or assessing the unconscious or assessing maybe other people's suffering or showing compassion toward other people's suffering. Again, this is about listening, gentle listening, being quite soft in your communication. Just there's so much here about trying to truly understand what the audience is saying, what the public is saying. And that can be really helpful for you when it comes to your own professional lives, when it comes to any specific changes that you want to make with respect to your accomplishments and your achievements. And hey, it could be a really good time to be super creative, super visual, to imagine, to dream, right? To go over, okay, what is the vision here? What is the vision that I have about my long-term goals? Indeed, Gemini, I feel as if the Mercury retrograde plus the Venus retrograde will be of a good beneficial time. It will be a good beneficial time for you to assess what inspires you, what is calling you to maybe help, assist, support, and make things happen, to literally make things happen within your communities and groups. And then we come to the eclipses. So we've got the lunar eclipse happening on the 14th of March. And this lunar eclipse in Virgo will open up a new set of eclipses, which will happen within the Virgo Pisces axis. But we're also going to experience the solar eclipse in Aries on the 29th of March, sort of closing the previous set of eclipses in Libra and Aries. So let's firstly think about the lunar eclipse in the fourth for you on the 14th of March. That will be a good opportunity for you to maybe experience significant changes and releases to do with things like your family life, your home life. This could be about maybe improvement, what you would like to change there or clean up there, but it's hopefully not in a super neurotic or obsessive or panicky way. Hopefully, it can just be more about, yes, let's be practical, let's think about the details and be somewhat thorough. Um, but yes, it's a good time to clean things up, to polish things up there, and to maybe reorganize or come to terms with your own priorities. What about family priorities, your living situation priorities? Maybe it will be a good time to just reorganize your actual space. So, literally, your living situation, how you might seek to polish things up there. Of course, with that being said, there's more to the astrology, right? This is just more of an overview, and we've got to think about the other planets at the time and aspects, things like that. Then we have the solar eclipse happening on the 29th of March, which will be quite significant, especially when we think about those retrogrades again. So, that solar eclipse in Aries could be that, well, significant changes will happen to do with your group involvements, teamwork. We're going to see perhaps you having another go at something within the team and how you can impact others around you, influence others around you with your actions, with your leadership skills. And it will also be an opportunity for you to experience a notable shift, a notable change to do with your collective aims and your collective visions. I get a sense here that you're really wanting to make things happen when it comes to the future in some respects, Gemini. So indeed, the solar eclipse, it's going to activate something within you to drive forward, to push forward. But naturally, with the retrogrades, it's still about sitting with the information at the time. And then we come to Neptune. So Neptune is on the move, Gemini. Neptune is actually going to enter your 11th house, and that will happen on the 30th of March. So, Neptune is the dissolver. Neptune is about our dreams. We surrender. There's so much compassion when it comes to this planet. And so, with Neptune coming into your 11th house, we could really see you seeking to unify, right? Really unify within teams and groups, or it could more so be about potential dissolving when it comes to your own identity, and then how you might empathize or surrender or relate. There can be even a lot of compassion that comes into group involvements and teams. Could even be that you inspire others with your visions. This is why I was saying those pioneering visions and aims. We're going to see that your future aims being rather passionate. I mean, already with Aries in the 11th house, you can be like this, but Neptune is going to add a whole other layer of deeper perspective and inspiration to inspire to inspire your audience, to inspire uh, people within the group. And also, we could see this as you being some kind of savior. Maybe that's important to just be aware of, to try and not fall into the whole savior complex when it comes to Neptune. We could also naturally see this as you feeling quite excited or feeling blissful about the changes that you wish to see or to make, being very idealistic. There could be some form of glamorization there. And coming up with all of these different visuals and getting people to dream. to get them to believe maybe in what you're saying or to believe in your actions and what you think should be the best way forward. And we could also see this as you having a lot of admirers or people being really fascinated by you and your way of doing things. Such the visionary here, Gemini, especially thinking about being that visionary out there within groups and clubs. Though perhaps a good thing to be cautious of or to be mindful of is how you might have high expectations of yourself or how much you might give of yourself as a way to serve or as a way to help. Okay, so just again think about that savior complex stuff with Neptune and how that can show up within social settings, group settings. April. Okay, so what's happening in April here? Well, Mercury will turn direct on the 7th of April, and then Venus will turn direct on the 12th of April. So, April will be a good time period for you to move forward with those things that you reassess, right? So, the communication stuff that you go over, the attraction stuff you go over, or could be financial matters, creativity matters. Indeed, you can hopefully move forward with a greater vision in mind or greater purpose in mind and greater clarity, right? There can be greater clarity and perspective that can be gained, which maybe you can even carry forward over into this 11th house arena, even with Neptune being there. And then you can maybe bring something of value over. And this could even be some sort of career clarity or professional clarity. This could be an organization or an institution that you were not so sure about before, but there is greater perspective because you took the time to go over your values and what you actually want, right? A lot of Aries is about the self and what you want, and it's about your personal journey, right? It's about self-discovery and your personal aims and goals. Then we have here May time. So as we come into May, we have Pluto turning retrograde. Keep in mind that Pluto will enter your ninth house by the 19th of November and will be there all the way up until 2043. So that's a very long transit. And so Mars retrograde will be your opportunity to go over, all right, how has my life transformed over these past number of months with Pluto in my ninth? So, what does this look like? Well, with Pluto in the ninth, you're certainly going to go through these renewals, and this evolutionary process will even happen with respect to your worldviews, your teachings, thinking about broadcasting, promotion, publishing, media, getting your message, getting your voice out there, Gemini, thinking about how you show up publicly, when we think about Aquarius, socially, collectively, this is even about how you might change your opinion strongly. You could find that your beliefs change heavily throughout this transit, or it's that you wish to make significant changes collectively based on your firm beliefs, your mindset. Innovation is a big part of this, and I think depth. It's that emotional depth. It's that emotional perspective with Pluto coming into Aquarius, especially thinking about this stuff technologically, socially, hey, environmentally as well. Indeed, we could see mega shifts to do with your worldviews and your delivery and perspective. Maybe a big part of this too is listening to other people's perspectives and different opinions, and how by doing that you can truly transform and change as a person, as a teacher, as a mentor. And therefore, with Pluto turning retrograde, that will be your opportunity to, all right, well, what's came up for me? Especially if you have Aquarius planets in the ninth. But what's came up for me? What have I been learning so far? Where do I feel called toward? What is my calling here? What about my aspirations? And we could also look at this as self-exploration, self-discovery, just broadening your view, widening your view and your perspective a great deal, being able to maybe see the bigger picture. And in Aquarius, it's that bird's eye view. So indeed, that will be your opportunity to go over those areas. And so that retrograde will be from the 4th of May until the 13th of October. So it will start in May. Another thing here that I want to mention is in May, so we think about Saturn joining. Saturn is going to join Neptune. So as the Pluto retrograde happens on the 4th of May, we've got Saturn entering Aries more toward the end of May, on the 24th of May. So Saturn is more about structure. It's more about limitations, confinement, hard work, discipline, responsibility. So Neptune coming in to the 11th house in Aries for you could be more dreamy and more idealistic and more about, okay, well, the possibilities. What could be? Visuals, possibly building castles in the sky with Neptune coming into the 11th house. So again, this stuff could show up more socially, more collectively, but then we've got Saturn coming in, and Saturn says, well, let's build, let's make these things actually happen. How realistic, how practical are your dreams? When we think about visions and inspiration and this limitlessness, this fascination to do with Neptune coming into your 11th house, well, Saturn can be more of that responsible figure, more of that, okay, but how does this actually fit in with society? Or how can this be put to good use? And what about your pioneering attitudes? What about the way forward here and what you want to do? But make it happen. Can you make it happen? Now, the other thing to mention is that yes, Saturn is in its fall in Aries. So, with Saturn being in its fall, yes, we could see some blockages, restrictions to do with leadership, to do with independence. Maybe this is saying even some issues to do with self confidence, slightly, or just not really being super super sure about ourselves. And so maybe some kind of self doubt could creep in, or it could be that there's some challenges to do with the next step and actually being assertive, especially with, I would even say, with Chiron being a part of this. You know, Chiron, even with in Aries, has brought up a lot of triggers and challenges to do with asserting ourselves and standing up for ourselves. So, indeed, there may be some blockages there with Saturn coming in. But the thing about Saturn too is that we can work with Saturn. We can come from a place of we can put in the work, put in the effort. We can step up to the challenge. We can show commitment. We can show dedication. So when you put in the work when it comes to Saturn, you are rewarded indeed. Plus, hey, we could even look at this as some healthy caution with respect to Saturn coming into Aries, right? Some healthy caution, and maybe just taking your time as you do consider, right, what about my social goals? What about my teamwork goals and how I wish to be a leader within the group here? Yes, you can take this as an opportunity to recognize that there's more work to be done. Now, before we do move on to June, I just want to mention something quickly, that there will be the Neptune Saturn conjunction, which will happen the following year. It will take place on the 19th of February 2026, and so it will usher in a new 35-year cycle to do with this stuff for you, Aries, or Gemini, to do with you, Gemini. So think about what we have discussed so far. And naturally, we will talk more about that conjunction next year. So, June. What will June have in store for you? Well, Jupiter is certainly on the move. Jupiter will enter Cancer on the 9th of June. So, this will happen in your second house of your resources and earnings. Well, consider the Mars retrograde, which happened at the beginning of the year. That was a good opportunity for you to go over your willpower and your drive and goals to do with these areas. But then Jupiter is going to come along, and Jupiter is so much about blessings, wisdom, the bigger picture. We could see some exciting new opportunities for you with respect to your family life, thinking about how family is tied in with your physical security. We could see this as you feeling really supported and comforted by certain family members. Maybe this is even people giving to you materially there. People are very generous with you. We could even see this as you valuing generosity, you coming across as this bringer of truth, this bringer of knowledge toward others, and doing so in this compassionate, caring, supportive way. Yes, with Jupiter in the second house, it is likely that you can attract resources and finances towards yourself, especially as a way to provide for your family and your loved ones with Cancer in the second, especially when it comes to even supporting yourself and thinking about your emotional security there. But equally, when it comes to Jupiter, Jupiter can be about how we overextend, how we can be somewhat limitless. Knowing boundaries is less likely. We can take things too far. We can bite off more than we can chew, overcommit, stuff like that. So do keep in mind that these qualities with Jupiter in the second and how, those qualities relate to your resources and your spending habits at Gemini. Then we come into July. So July, we actually have Neptune then turning retrograde from the 4th of July until the 10th of December. So basically, I'm just bringing up the retrogrades. Really, it's just going to be a good way for you to reassess and review. Okay, where am I along my um, idealistic creativity journey with respect to those group involvements and teamwork, things like that, and you're pioneering future aims, right? So you can just take some time to reflect, to go over things. Then we come into Uranus. Uranus is gonna enter your sign, and this will happen from the 7th of July. Gemini, very exciting indeed. Great time for innovation, switching things up. We could see major breakthroughs, turn of events happening. Yes, there can be shakeups and the unexpected when it comes to Uranus in your sign, especially related to your aims, your goals, your direction, thinking about your identity, your name, your title, your role, all these things. My goodness, you're going to see such significant changes happening, but Uranus coming into your sign here, Gemini, will be just the first part of it. Uranus is going to retrograde at some point, which we'll get to, but yeah, this is your first look into the future, so to speak. And we could even see this as something quite technological happening, something communicative happening, something about education and teaching could very well happen. Invention. Yes, innovation is at the forefront here. We could just see things unfolding in ways that you never thought possible, or it's that you're just going to be left in awe, surprised. With Uranus, the unexpected can be shocking, and it can also be very disruptive to a fault, or where it's difficult to manage things. But Uranus can also be those aha moments, those light bulb moments, inventive qualities, and things could happen unexpectedly where things, well, they work out in your favor, actually. So yes, we're going to see a lot of exciting shifts coming up for you, Gemini. I'm very excited about this transition for you. Now, the other thing is Saturn will turn retrograde this same month. So we've got both Neptune and Saturn entering Aries. at the beginning of 2025. And then by July, both planets will be retrograde in your 11th house. So the retrograde of Saturn will be from the 13th of July until the 27th of November. Again, you know the drill. It's just a good way to go, right? What about the lessons I've learned so far? What have I been building? What do I prioritize here? What about discipline and responsibility when it comes to these organizations and groups that I'm a part of? Anything that I haven't looked at yet? Just take that time to go over the plan and to consider what lessons have come up and how you might have matured by that point too. Another thing is, well, we've got the Mercury retrograde happening. So this Mercury retrograde will be in Leo, and that will be from the 18th of July until the 11th of August. So, what can we expect from this retrograde? Well, it's going to happen in your third house. It's kind of interesting to think that even a part of the Mars retrograde was in your third. And so that was a good opportunity for you to maybe go over, okay, what about my drive and my willpower and my goal setting with respect to communication and education there? But Mercury, I feel, will be another opportunity for you to arrive to new conclusions or to visit old stories or old conclusions there, old conversations with people from the past, maybe. Maybe this is about thinking about creative forms of communication, thinking even about play and fun and spontaneity, enthusiastic communication. Yes, perhaps these kinds of qualities will be what you take an honest look at. There will be this reassessing side to Mercury retrograde in your third house. Could even be old conversations and discussions with siblings or classmates or peers there. Smaller networks, I feel, is a big part of this. You know, smaller teams, smaller groups, and even how it is that you interact with others within your local area. There could be some form of, okay, let me go over how I communicate with them. Could even be social media, right? How you present information on social media could be a big focus for you. Then we do come into August, and by the 11th of August, Mercury will turn direct in the third. And remember, Mercury is your ruler, right? So, yes, with Mercury being the ruler, the Mercury retrogrades do speak to your direction. They speak to a significant area of focus in your life. So, with Mercury turning direct, again, conclusions will be in reach and some answers will come up, and you may be able to move forward with greater clarity and intention and purpose. But we come into September time, and Saturn retrograde then enters the 10th house. So, even just to speak a little bit to Saturn and Neptune being in your 10th house over these past number of years, Gemini, a lot to do with, okay, what about my purpose? And how might things have been changing for you? And how might you have been feeling quite directionless or a bit confused about the next step, even? Saturn coming back into the 10th could be a bit of a wake up call or a time to really go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this before. I didn't realize this about my dedication and my discipline and how that stuff is linked to your emotional intelligence and your own emotional understanding and maybe your intuition and potential psychic abilities. And even thinking about how you, again, come across within a public setting, right? This stuff shows up more professionally, more publicly. So Saturn coming back into the 10th can be your opportunity to go over, actually, you know what? I have really grown up here. You know what? I've really dedicated myself. I've worked hard. Things have not been easy. I've been tested in so many ways, but I showed commitment and I've put in the time. You may even find some past successes or past achievements where you go, oh, I recognize that, and you can take that time to reflect and to let it sit with you, right? To let those successes sit with you. And then naturally, Saturn will turn direct, and then you can bring forward those new perspectives or old perspectives, which feel like they're new perspectives, you can bring them forward into the next chapter. Then we have here Uranus turning retrograde from the 6th of September. So it will start from your sign. So it's just basically, all right, I've gotten a feel for what could be, or I've gotten a taste of innovation and surprise and sudden change to do with my direction and my identity. But hey, maybe there's just something that I haven't quite discovered yet. Or maybe there's an old innovative approach or an old breakthrough from the past that can assist me. And such breakthroughs, I think, will come up throughout 2025. So it's just a good way, I think, for you to explore many avenues, explore all of your ideas, and learn as much as possible. And see where your mind can take you, Gemini, with your through your curiosity. We could see this happen for you. But yes, the Uranus retrograde will just be another way for you to go over things. Then we also have more eclipses. The 7th of September, we have the lunar eclipse in Pisces, and then on the 21st of September, we have the solar eclipse in Virgo. So with the lunar eclipse in Pisces, that will be about notable changes and releasing, shedding old skin, significantly so, to do with what? Well, we think about, well, possible hardships and tensions and struggles and setbacks to do with your career path, your professional life. So we also see the clarity, the perspective that has been gained. We also see that any times you've been knocked down, you've gotten right back up, and all of the spiritual awareness and potentially enlightening moments or moments of self-compassion and being really empathetic toward your situation. So yes, we could see this as this shedding old skin, but we could also see this as a good, honest clarifying moment, or a moment to recognize, to see the rewards actually throughout your journey. And because of your consistency, because of your hard work, there you will indeed reap rewards. Now, as for the solar eclipse in Virgo, we're going to see you embracing notable changes and significant new chapters to do with your family life, your living situation. We could see this even as a fresh perspective, or just seeing things through fresh eyes, and feeling even that with that solar eclipse, that there is something purifying about the experience, or there's something clean about it. There's something even realistic and practical about your family situation around that time period. Now, again, I just want to say, when it comes to eclipses and full moons and new moons, there is the bigger picture to explore. We always want to think about the astrology of those moon cycles. So this is just an overview for you, Gemini. But then we come into October. And October, we've got Pluto turning direct. So on the 13th of October, Pluto will turn direct. And so we'll see more to your Pluto in the 9th house story come to life. And we could see you then carrying over those sort of deeper perspectives that you look at to do with your beliefs and even your higher education and advanced training and things of that nature. So yeah, you can move forward then with greater clarity and perspective there too. And with Neptune will then also re-enter the 10th house. So this will be from the 22nd of October, Gemini. Neptune coming back into the 10th house for you, just a good opportunity for you to see what was left behind, anything you missed, maybe things that you overlooked or things that you weren't quite clear about before. Yeah, we could see just something else to come through. This could be about how you present yourself publicly. This could be about your career path, or about your accomplishments and things that you would like to accomplish, but it's more so something creative involved, I think, or spiritual, right? With Neptune coming into the 10th, there could be some spiritual qualities as a part of it. I mean, let's consider how Neptune has been in your 10th house for the past, what, 14 years, something like that. And so a lot has been coming up to do with your career dreams, how you visualize your life to be when it comes to your professional life. We see how certain barriers and boundaries have been dissolved within these areas. So Neptune retrograde coming into the 10th is just another way of you going back in and maybe exploring your unconscious a bit, or taking another look at old dreams or old visions. And then we come into November, and Uranus retrograde then re-enters the 12th for you. That will be from the 7th of November back into your behind the scenes alone time. More so thinking again about how you are moved spiritually, or any older innovations that you didn't quite look at before or didn't notice before. We can look at this practically speaking as well, with Uranus being in Taurus, but again, you can carry those insights forward, but just take that time, right? With Uranus re-entering your 12th, take your time and go over those steps. You just might be surprised by what you rediscover. So Mercury, the final Mercury retrograde of 2025, it will begin in your 7th house in Sagittarius. So the Mercury retrograde will be from the 9th of November until the 29th of November. So this part of Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius will be from the 9th of November until the 18th. So just that will be a good way for you to revisit old conversations and decisions related to business and partnerships, relationships there, looking at wider visions, wider views and ideas. And then by the 18th of November, coming into the 29th of November, right? So that time period, Mercury will be in Scorpio in your 6th. So that would be a good way for you to go over, right? Well, what about my coworker relationships? And maybe there's some information that I need to clarify or gain perspective about. Or this could be even about some adjustments and changes to do with your working lives or your services, and looking a little bit deeper. Perhaps such areas will require you to investigate and do some more research. Could even be some old document that you are presented with, right? It's old information, it's some research tied to the past, which you can address and review. Do remember as well that Mercury will turn direct. It will turn direct on the 29th of November from Scorpio, and then the post-shadow period will be until the 16th of December. So from the end, coming toward the end of November, you will be able to gain greater perspective and move forward with the information that you revisited whilst Mercury was retrograde. Then we have Jupiter retrograde happening as well. So Jupiter will turn retrograde from the 11th of November coming into 2026. So this part of the journey will be about you reviewing how you will have grown by that point, right? Which kinds of opportunities, which kinds of possibilities have opened up to you with respect to finances and your resources there, especially when we relate this stuff to family and home and your emotional security and your values and all the rest of it. So just a good way to go over, right? Well, how have I grown? What have I learned so far? How can I even draw toward my inner wisdom, my inner guidance throughout this process? And we also see on the 27th of November, Saturn turns direct in your 10th house. It's going to be the end of Saturn in your 10th house. I mean, Saturn will not be in your 10th house for much longer after that, but yeah, Saturn turning direct. And so hopefully this part of the transit will be you feeling a bit more like you've got this, I know what to do moving forward. I have a grander, more wider perspective about the next step forward and how you can carry even those intuitive insights or those compassionate insights, those spiritual insights, and you can carry those things into that of the sort of ways that you wish to change society or how you wish to contribute to society and influence others. And then lastly, we have December. Neptune turns direct, okay? Neptune will also turn direct on the 10th of December. And so again, it's more so about, right, okay, well, I've reassessed these career professional life areas. I have reassessed my boundaries and even looking at how I can establish healthier boundaries when it comes to my professional life. I have reassessed even my dreams and possibly any unrealistic expectations and standards that I have for myself when it comes to my career path. And so, because of that honest review, or because you can connect more so with your inner self, with inner wisdom and insight there, again, you could do this through the likes of being creative. We could see this as you retreating. We could see this as you journaling. Certain spiritual practices could just be involved in this, but with Neptune then turning direct, well, it's all about being able to bring those things that you took a closer look at, to bring them into the next part of the journey for you. So we could then see such matters being applied once more to that of teamwork, groups, and uh, networking. Okay, so this has been Gemini. Gemini 2025. Thank you so much for listening. Now, if you would like to book a reading with me, of course, this is an overview, everybody. Your chart always comes first. I just want to say that. I feel like I need to get some kind of like a t-shirt or something with that on it. Your chart always comes first. But anyway, if you would like to book a reading with me, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. And if you really did enjoy this presentation today, if you got something from it, you can always buy me coffee, but there's never any pressure to do anything. It's all up to you. But if anything, thank you so much for being here, everybody. Thank you for watching, and please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.